Welcome to GemNews. Today we are diving into a topic that keeps economists awake at night, despite the record-breaking earnings reports. Our headline story is The Paradox of Prosperity, Decoding Taiwan Disease and the Structural Risks Behind the Silicon Shield. This is not merely an academic concept, it is the reality of Taiwan's current economic constitution. While the world celebrates Taiwan's semiconductor miracle, we must ask, are we suffering from a chronic and dangerous economic imbalance? Today, we will peel back the layers of data. Adopting the cool, calculated perspective of a Wall Street analyst, we will diagnose this phenomenon known as Taiwan disease. Section 1. Resource crowding out. First, let's focus our lens on the so-called Dutch disease effect. The core of the issue is not that Taiwan's tech sector is weak, but rather that it is simply too strong. We are witnessing a classic case of resource crowding out. Imagine Taiwan's economic resources as a finite pie. The semiconductor and high-tech industries, armed with massive gross margins and global pricing power, have not only taken the largest slice, but have also absorbed the top talent, the most stable power supply, and the prime land. What is the consequence? It leads to a systemic risk of industrial monoculture. When capital and policy tilt excessively toward a single sector, traditional manufacturing and services face severe displacement. Machinery, textiles, and even financial services, unable to match the salaries and return on capital of big tech, gradually lose their momentum for transformation. It's like an investment portfolio. If you bet 80% of your funds on a single stock, no matter how well that stock performs, your risk exposure is already at a dangerous edge. Once the global semiconductor cycle reverses, or geopolitics triggers a supply chain shuffle, Taiwan's lack of a second pillar will expose it to massive volatility. Section 2. The K-shaped divide. Next, let's discuss the tangible impact of this imbalance on society: exchange rates and wealth gaps. This is the most painful symptom of Taiwan disease, known as the brutal K-shaped economy. The massive trade surplus from the tech sector creates immense pressure for the new Taiwan dollar to appreciate. For a giant like TSMC, currency fluctuation might just be a line item on a financial statement. But for traditional exporters operating on razor-thin margins, a strong currency is effectively a noose around their necks. This has created a fractured Taiwan. On the upper arm of the K, you have the tech elite. They enjoy the dividends of globalization, driving up real estate prices in Hsinchu, Taichung, and Tainan. On the lower arm, however, lies the vast majority in services and traditional industries. Their wage growth is stagnant. Their purchasing power is eroded by inflation and soaring housing costs, breeding a deep sense of relative deprivation. This distortion of wealth distribution is not just an economic issue, it evolves into a social crisis. When a country's GDP growth fails to trickle down to the quality of life for the majority, that growth is fragile, perhaps even illusory. Domestic demand withers because consumer power is weak, eventually dragging down the overall health of the economy. Section 3. The second growth curve. Finally, what is the prescription for Taiwan disease? The answer is certainly not to suppress the high-tech sector, but to actively cultivate a second growth curve. Government and industry must realize the dividend period of relying solely on hardware manufacturing will eventually face diminishing marginal returns. The solution lies in guiding spillover effects. We must channel the capital and technical advantages accumulated by the semiconductor industry into other sectors. For example, leveraging powerful chip manufacturing capabilities to drive smart healthcare, green energy management, and high-value software services. The key is the technologization of services and the digital transformation of traditional industries. We need high-value-added services, not just low-barrier, labor-intensive ones. This requires precise policy guidance, including tax reform and subsidies for non-tech digital transformation. Only when Taiwan's silicon shield becomes a water source that nourishes the surrounding forest, rather than a giant rock blocking the sun, can Taiwan's economy truly become immune to Dutch disease. Conclusion. To conclude, my view on Taiwan disease is cautious but not pessimistic. It is, in essence, a side effect of success. It proves Taiwan's excellence in a specific domain, but it also rings the alarm bell for diversification. A true economic powerhouse should not rely on a solitary bloom, but on a flourishing, diverse ecosystem. Whether we can cross this trap will determine if Taiwan's next decade leads to an inclusive, developed economy, or sinks into a period of stagnant growth with widening inequality. This is GemNews. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.